research scientist at the CSIR Crop Research Institute, Kwaku Asante, says agroecology is taking precedence in agriculture discourse, while noting focus should remain on integrating circular economy and agroecology. In a chat with CNBC Africa, he highlights work is underway on how best to harness biomass in agric systems and convert them into compost that can be reapplied to improve soil health and biodiversity. Take a look.
It's taking precedence in the agriculture discourse, largely because of the challenges that we see with our conventional production systems, largely being input-driven, concentrated. And so the input, fertilizers, chemicals, are making the production processes costly and also risky for consumers. And talk about biodiversity. Biodiversity is also another concern as our conventional practices continue to weaken the soil environment and soil health by too much fertilizers being pumped into the soil and therefore compromising the soil microbial biodiversity. And so within the agroecology framework, we are trying to see how to reduce agriculture inputs. We're also trying to see how to improve soil biodiversity and biodiversity in general. We also try to promote soil health and then advance synergy, co-creation among farmers and policy makers or actors within the agriculture system, food systems. And so we try to look at economic diversification all within the principles of agroecology. Now, what operationalizes agroecology so much is the concept of circular economy. Why? Because we see a lot of waste and pollution from the conventional production systems. Why the waste? Biomass waste is largely a concern. And one thing that happens to the biomass waste is the burning. A lot of the time, farmers and producers often burn the biomass because they feel they have no use of the biomass. And therefore, we are trying to see the integration of circular economy with agroecology. Now, once the biomass is burnt, the concern that we have as scientists is the fact that they release black carbon, which when inhaled has severe consequences on the respiratory systems. And so apart from it being a short-lived climate pollutant, which is able to trap and have high warming potential when in the atmosphere, the risk of human health is also a major concern. And so we are trying to see how best to, work with the biomass that we generate in agriculture production systems, convert them into compost, into organic materials that can be reapplied onto the soil to improve the soil health, improve soil biodiversity, and also enhance agricultural productivity. And that way, we are able to reduce the amount of input. That if a farmer was going to be using 10 tons of, let's say 10 bags of NPK on an acre of land to produce maize, now because of circular economy, adding the biomass to the soil and incorporating it in the soil, instead of using 10 bags, you are now going to maybe using about 5 or 2 or 3 bags. And that helps you to reduce the amount of input, save cost, and also save the environment. And so we are trying to see how to integrate agroecology and circular economy to drive ecosystem services. And by driving ecosystem services, we are looking at 4 domains of ecosystem services. And those are we can talk about the provisioning ecosystem services. We expect that our food system should be able to provide food, fuel, raw materials. Apart from that, we should expect that we have regulatory ecosystem services as well, so that our temperature, our climate should be adequately regulated. We shouldn't have too much pollution and emissions of gases, methane from rice, black carbon from biomass burning, and all that. So regulatory ecosystem services should be able to be controlled by the integration of agroecology and circular economy.
And yes, those are indeed quite key areas when it comes to the integration aspect of it, but let us look at it from an economic feasibility perspective. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So we are also trying to see how best farmers can diversify their income sources. So by integrating agroecology, agroecology will mean that they want to sometimes produce animals along with crops. And so the